First thing we do, let us kill all the lawyers. How many of you agree with William Shakespeare? You are very kind. Well, disdain towards lawyers is not an old story. As recent as in 2019, the Indian Institute of Management at Ahmedabad conducted a study in Kerala and found that 62% believed lawyers are dishonest. I am a lawyer. But I'm not here today to defend my profession. That's not my intention at all. I may even fall in that 62%. But I was wondering if the very society which dislikes lawyers has something to learn from lawyers and courtrooms. I had been at the bar in the court hall, as somebody now said, for the last 2.5 decades. Their words are weapons, and at the same time, they are bridges. Now just imagine this, a normal day in court. I will walk in, start arguing against another counsel. I would say that his case is unsustainable, to be thrown out. He would argue that I am misleading and my case is baseless. The temperature will rise. The judge finally will decide. One of us will lose, the other will win. Correct? But immediately after the gavel falls, both these lawyers will happily walk out, hands over their shoulders, go to the canteen, sit down, have a cup of coffee. And the only argument then is who will pay the bill. We don't mind that. We have that committee. We have that brotherhood. Very sibling-like relationship that we maintain. Now contrast that with what happens outside the court hall. Take, for example, a family WhatsApp group. One uncle will forward a praise for a political leader. Second uncle does not even reply, he posts a caustic sticker. And the heat rises. Abuses fly, angry voice notes come, forwards from other WhatsApp universities reach us. And at that point of time, one auntie says, please keep the politics out. And then there is a debate as to what is politics. Somebody will shout at that lady also. Finally, some of us will leave the group. Or if you are like me, you will archive it. Now, this is the same thing that happens on dinner tables, on Facebook. Instagram seems to be better. My children tells me so. I am still to be there. Most of the social media and, of course, the anti-social media. Everywhere, there is so much of noise and so little debate. Debate fails, shouting wins. Why is that the very same kind of disagreement, which is managed well in a court hall, turns toxic outside? What can our society learn from the court hall? That, according to me, there are 3 things that our society should learn. Number 1, there is deliberate respect in language. Number 2, there is insistence for logical proof. And number 3, in a court hall, ideas does not create identity. And that's all what I want to tell you today. Firstly, we have all seen court halls in movies, right? We lawyers address each other as learned friends. I'm probably very sure that the person standing across me has learned nothing and he is anything but friendly, but still, I would say, my learned friend. And he would address me the same, though he may hold even worse opinion about me. And even if we get really angry, it goes just as far as Mr. So and so. That means the other side is angry. Even the judge from the high pedestal, when he normally interacts with a lawyer, he will have respect in his voice. Courtesy in a court hall is not an option, it is a mandate. Now imagine what happens outside. Remember December last? Our parliament, bad example, right? For good language. Our parliament was in one of the most important discussions we were having probably for the last 50 years, and that was electoral reforms. And during that debate, one minister, probably by a slip of tongue, uses the word Sala, and the whole world erupts. For hours, the discussion was on Sala, and we lost so much of time. The discussion on debate on electoral reforms takes the back seat. We are very quick to condemn bad language, are we not? And we are equally quick to use it. When you condemn bad language, you use bad language. That doesn't happen in court. And this is one good reason why we maintain comity in court. And secondly, of course, unlike media, courts demand evidence, and not any evidence. Evidence has to be tested. You have to put your evidence to the side against you, and they have to be able to test the veracity of that evidence, and it is not an easy task. It is often said, courts are not places where you find out truth. You find in a court what is proved. And courts are usually criticized for this. We all know that the person did that. It was all on the TV, it was all on the media, but the court doesn't punish him. What is wrong with this court? Right? What is wrong with the court is that the court insists on tested evidence before coming to a conclusion. Unlike media, where opinion passes as truth, WhatsApp forward becomes fact. You have to have tested evidence. In our social setup, if debates are based more on solid, testable facts, then our social discourse would be elevated from what it is now to a much higher pedestal. And finally, as a lawyer, today, one person may come to me as a client, I would argue something in his favor. Tomorrow, another person will come to me and I might be free to argue directly opposite to what I argued earlier. Nobody says, yesterday you argued the other way about. Because lawyers are professional arguers. We are permitted to do that. Why is that our social debates doesn't happen the same way? If I have an opinion today in a social debate and I get better informed, am I not free to change it? Should I not change it? Should I feel fettered with what I decided or agreed to follow yesterday? Now, idea should not become your identity. Ideas should and must change. This is very difficult to digest in the present political scenario. I understand that. That is because we feel that once you take a view, that puts a label on you. It is not others who put that label. Sometimes you yourself label yourself and say, I belong to this gang. And then the next issue comes, you find yourself compelled to follow some particular view just because you were taking a view yesterday. That is not the good way of debating. that is not the way discussion grows. It is necessary that we keep ourselves open. And if you are not open, it is not debate. It is just you being obstinate. If you want to be constructive in your debate, it should also be possible to change your view when new information come. Throughout the day, we were having new information with us. And if the new information doesn't persuade you to either test it and change yourself based on that test, there is no debate. Lawyers does not prohibit disagreement, we inform it. This is very important for the society to learn from courts. Somebody was telling when I told my topic is disagreement, that it's an important topic, we should stop disagreeing. That is not my intention. Disagreement is not a vice. It is in fact the fuel to democracy. You should disagree, and you should disagree vigorously, passionately. But when you do, disagree on the idea, not with the person. You can still be good friends when you have two different ideas, two diametrically opposite positions. It is often said, at least in the principles of law, that two reasonable people can come to directly opposite conclusions on the same set of facts without forfeiting their title of being reasonable. We should understand that every view is to be analyzed, appreciated, probably to tweak the stand we have, to inform it better. Every debate is intended not to argue and win, but to inform and be informed. We started with a famous quote from William Shakespeare. Let us kill all the lawyers. Do you know that that was the war cry of a character called Dick the Butcher in Henry VI? Dick the Butcher and his team was planning a revolution which would end up in tyranny, and they found that the first line of defense against tyranny would be lawyers. Therefore, they planned to kill all the lawyers. The next thing they plan is to kill all who can read and write. More disagreement on that. Third, to burn all the books. Obviously, if you are planning tyranny, you have to kill lawyers. But just imagine if there is a society which imbibes all the good values which lawyers have, then that is the biggest assurance you have against tyranny, against hate, against division, and against any kind of absolute regime. I would therefore suggest let us agree with William Shakespeare, but let us not kill lawyers. Let us learn from them. Thank you.